After the first one was an unexpected hit, Smile is back with its sequel. Let's talk about it. All I have to say is wow. I wasn't expecting this sequel to be this good, but crap, man, it blew me away. This one is better than the first entry in almost every aspect, and as someone who actually saw the first one in theaters before the phenomenon happened, with the marketing and all that, I saw it and I actually had a good time with it. I love the atmosphere that was built there. I just felt like the ending was a little bit cheap and there's no origin of the evil, so it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but I was still positive on it. But this one it's so much better. I'm like, oh my god, it's upgraded so much. And it's been such a great year for horror, and we just keep going and going. Not sure how many horror movies we really have left. Like Nosferatu is probably going to be great. Not many other ones coming out this year, but we saw a new trailer for Wolfman for early next year. I think that one will be pretty good. But I'm not actually sure where this one stands in my horror rankings for this year. We're going to do a ranking at the end of the year, but I'd probably say it's top 3. I really want to go rewatch this one again, but I'm just scared. But I do know I have to go back because it's so damn great. Parker Finn is actually the director of these 2 Smile movies, and that's basically all of his filmography. He did some short films before this, but the first Smile was his first main film. And I can't really blame him because he really hit the gold mine here with the first one becoming an extreme hit at the box office and becoming one of the best marketed films of all time. Everyone's trying to copy the first one. You had the creator having people at baseball games and football games trying to copy this one, because this one had people if you remember, it had people at the baseball games right behind home plate just smiling in the camera, and they did that with this one a little bit, but they didn't do it a lot. I think they should have done it a lot with the second one too. The second one really hasn't been marketed as much, maybe because they didn't think it had to be. I just think that it should have been. I saw them at one of the games, but they weren't really as prominent as the first one. The first one was everywhere. Everywhere you looked, you saw them on the news and all that. It just became one of the best marketed movies of all time. And it became this extreme hit, making so much money. And Parker Finn, I think, really leveled up his direction for the sequel. It's more artistic and just flows so much better. I had pacing problems with the first one. This one's longer than the first one. I think it's just paced so well, and I just don't feel like you do feel the runtime compared to the first one. And I hope people come out to see this one, and I hope it legs out because I want a third entry so bad. We gotta talk about the scares because this one scared the bejesus out of me. My god, it had me jumping out of my seat like 10 times, and I'm usually good with jump scares, and I also hate jump scares, but these were just so well done. Like, when I say I hate jump scares, I hate when we have a character standing in the dark room for like 20 seconds or just walking around left, right, like, oh, it just keeps going, and then the jump scare happens, and it's so obvious that they don't get jump scared. It just feels so cheap when they do it like that. But here, it happens out of nowhere. Like, you have someone turn around and they just flash on screen for 1 second, have a character just talking normally, and then they just start smiling. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you scared me so bad. Like, I don't think I've jumped this much or this heavily in a long time in a horror movie. Like, as I said, I don't really jump that much. But this one, it had me jumping literally 10 times. I swear it was that much. I'm not even trying to blow this out the water or sound like this movie is like that crazy, but it really is crazy, and these jump scares are really effective. It actually made me want to look away from the screen many times because it was pretty gory some of those times, but I had to keep looking because, as I said, it is very artistically how they're doing this. It's very artistic, and I really just want to keep watching it, even though it's very disturbing. And if you aren't good with gore or body disfiguration, then this movie is probably not for you, because the first movie had like one scene of like disfiguration, but this movie gets real dirty with how it handles the deaths, and some of it just had me kind of grossed out, but it scared me so much. I do want to talk about the budget because the first Smile movie had a production budget of about 17 million, and we already know that made a lot of profit. Now Smile 2, its budget is only 28 million. Talk about smart money moves, and thank God they didn't overinflate the budget like what happens on like almost every sequel. Like, every single sequel you get, usually superhero movies, the budget goes from like 150 million to like 350 million. or smaller movies, sequel goes from like 30 million to like 100 million. This, it only increased like 11 million. That's terrific. That is what we like to see, man. That's how you get profit out of a movie. And what's great is that it's all on screen and it paid off so well that I hope this movie makes profit. Now we've got to talk about the cast. Naomi Scott plays the lead, Sky Riley, who is a pop star recovering from past trauma and substance abuse. What's funny is that she is such a better pop star, and this is such a better pop star story compared to what Trap tried to tell you, which came out a few months ago. Naomi Scott, though, is pretty well known for being really good in all of her movies, like Aladdin, Power Rangers, which is pretty good in that, but it's kind of not that great of a movie. But she is at the top of her game here, and I really can't think of a performance of hers that is better than this. I got to see her in more horror movies because this is definitely one of my favorite performances of the year, and she gets to play with some interesting jump scares and interesting elements in this one, and she gets to play with the substance abuse factor, trauma factor, and I just thought she nailed it. I'll spend a little bit of time talking about the supporting cast. You have Kyle Gallner, who comes back from the original. He has a pretty interesting scene, and then we had Ray Nicholson, who is actually the son of Jack Nicholson, and he has a very, very good scene. I hope that I get to see him in more stuff, but because I think this is the only thing that I've seen him in. I mean, I feel like there'd be more news if he was in more movies. Lucas Gage was great. Dylan Galula was actually one of my favorite performances in the movie. She has a lot to do here. If you don't know her, she's mostly well known for Shithouse. I think she's a fantastic actress, and I hope she gets more stuff. Peter Jacobson is also in this. He was pretty good in his couple scenes. A very great supporting cast here with a lot of standout scenes. My main flaw is that I did wish that we got a clear origin of this demon or spirit. It just feels a little bit lazy, and it feels like they don't really know what the origin is, so they're not going to really tell you, and it feels like you can't really win against it. You know, that's kind of like my same gripe from the first movie. Like, there's no origin of where this came from, and I know it's probably hard to think of an origin, but I wish we got one. And if we do get a third entry, I hope some of these issues are addressed, because there's only so many movies that we can go through, and I would assume that this would be basically a trilogy. Overall, Smile 2 is one of my favorite horror movies of the year. It's better than the original in almost every aspect, and it flows so much better. The scares were so effective, had me jumping out of my seat so many times, and Naomi Scott is the best she has ever been in this. Please put her in more horror movies. I'm gonna give Smile 2 a strong 8 out of 10. If you saw Smile 2, make sure to leave your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd be open to discussing it with you. If you enjoyed my review, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 800 subscribers, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.